Everyone, happy spooky season. 2022 marks the 10th anniversary of Cry of Fear, a game that is considered highly regarded among the indie horror genre. I had no idea this game existed until my partner, Chauffeur, told me about it earlier this year. As we were both watching the playthrough for the first time, the first big jump scare happened, a giant face appearing out of nowhere, screaming at the player. I immediately recognized that voice. I looked over to Chauffeur and said, "That's me." You see, back in 2007, when I was 16, I started uploading some sound effects that I made on freesound.org, a website where you can easily download audio that you could use for your own content. The site's very popular with indie game devs, video editors, and musicians, and many sounds from there, including several of my own, have been used all over the place in all types of media, some of which you might recognize. In this video, I'll be discussing my most famous free sound samples, how I created them, and how they've been used by others. Weirdly enough, Cry of Fear isn't the first time that I've randomly stumbled upon one of my sound effects playing while watching media. In fact, it's happened twice before. In 2016, I was watching an episode of The Eric Andre Show on Adult Swim, and during the intro where Eric destroys a set, one of my anime sword sound effects plays as he punches his desk. I had recorded some sound effects from the sound tests off of the arcade game Lethal Enforcers and added some reverb and delay to the samples to make it longer and more dramatic. I was also directly inspired by Joel Valentine's work for Cartoon Network shows like Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack, where this anime shine accent gets used a lot even today. In fact, his sound effect appears right before mine in the Fool Me Twice episode of Regular Show.
Fool me once. Game Master Mitsuru Shinohara.
The very first time I recognized my own sound effects being used elsewhere was around 2014 when I was at my friend's apartment watching them play Damned by Nine Heads Game Studios. When you get a game over, you hear this scream bathed in reverb. That's another scream I did during the same recording session as the Cry of Fear sound. This scream was also used in the game Saiko no Sutoka, as well as SCP Containment Breach as one of the attack sounds for the SCP-939 monster. I recorded these screams on this Sony mini disc recorder that I bought around 2008. I was inspired by sound effects such as the Wilhelm Scream, as well as Hollywood Edge's Howie Scream and Insane Tantrum, all of them famously used in many 90s movies and cartoons. One day, when my parents were out of the house, I decided to record myself randomly screaming bloody murder for my sound collection. To reduce clipping, I had placed the mini disc recorder on the other side of the room, and I stood about 10-15 feet away from it. But despite those preparations, the recording still came out distorted, so I used FL Studio's default reverb plugin on a bunch of the takes to help mask the lo-fi quality, and one of those takes is the death scream used in the two previously mentioned games. For the sake of being complete, I still uploaded some of the original distorted recordings on Freesound, and one of them, Shocker.wave, was the one used by Andreas Ronberg and the team behind Cry of Fear for one of the game's most memorable jump scares. In the end, I'm actually really happy that my audio got distorted because if it was a perfect, pristine recording, I don't think it would have been used in the game at all. In addition to screams, I edited together some other useful sound effects, one of them called Punches and Slaps, which I pieced together in November 2007. I had grabbed a few whoosh samples as well as a series of whip noises that were previously uploaded to Freesound by other users. Using those audio clips as a base, I added some lo-fi punch samples that I had discovered on finesounds.com to help get that distinct, exaggerated kung fu movie effect. This sound ended up becoming one of my most popular, with over 53,000 downloads. As it turns out, 3 years after I uploaded Punches and Slaps, another user on Freesound trimmed the audio file down to just a single punch, and that particular variant has been downloaded over 71,000 times and gained over 1 million views on YouTube. It has been used in so much content, most notably the death sound in the infamous mobile game Flappy Bird. Another video that has over 1 million views and uses one of my sounds is a YouTube upload of the 2010 dubstep track Hydraulic by Datsik. The intro uses my anime mecha walking sound, which ends up forming the basis of the beat, It's pretty much the namesake of the track. It never really hit me until making this video just how impactful my sound effects have been to so many people. Some of these findings I've known for years, while others like the Cry of Fear, Regular Show, and Flappy Bird discoveries are very recent to me. This is the first time I've really talked about my free sound work in depth, and after compiling all these sounds together for this video, I have a renewed appreciation for all this old stuff I made in my early days with audio. I also want to give a shout out to all the sound editors, game devs, and everyone else that have used my sounds in their own projects. I'm glad that so many have found my random collection of sounds to be useful. This is Cinemax. Thanks for watching.